And here's my story. My wife found a cat. She found it living in the roof of the restroom in the park. And she fed this cat because the cat was really nice, and it would come out of its rafters, and she would put food out, and she'd pet the cat, and the cat would purr. And this went on for about a month. And one day she went up to the park, and she said that the cat looked really sick, and she thought it was dying. So she asked me, what should I do? And I said, well, if you really like the cat, you save the cat. So she took the cat to the vet, and they cleaned the cat up, and the cat was horribly infested with fleas. And they thought that's why the cat was dying, because the fleas were sucking all the blood out of the cat. That bad. And so the technician at the veterinarian's office named the cat Pumpkin because he was a tabby. And he was so nice, they all loved him and they wanted to keep him, but she brought him home and he was nice and he weighed 7 pounds. And my wife had read on the internet, the best way to have a cat is a self-feeding cat, so you don't have to worry about feeding it all the time. So we just left food out and the food would just disappear. It just kept disappearing. So in a period of 8 weeks, little Pumpkin went from being 7 pounds to 18 pounds. And he looked like a bowling ball. And so my wife said, we have to put him on a diet. So she started restricting his food, and this had a strange response in Pumpkin. He started biting everybody. Anybody, because he had developed a conditioned response that people were food providers, so when they didn't provide food, he became very angry and would attack any person who, if he was hungry, who passed by him. So he started biting my wife and biting me and biting the dog, and I changed his name from Pumpkin to Punky. Punky is a small biting fly. Anyway, Punky proceeded to have this biting activity, and he got worse and worse. And he bit my wife on the leg, and horrible scars, and bit me on the arms, and bit her 20 times on the arms, bit some friends who came to parties. He bit everybody. He was a horrible cat, and I loved him. I developed this technique for dealing with Punky. Whenever he got that look in his eyes, and when cats get that look in their eyes just grow till they're just these black pools of vengeance and anger. And whenever he got that look, I'd scoop him up real fast and hold him like a baby and go, what a nice kitty. And he'd be trying to get me, but he couldn't get me. I could hold him just far enough away. And after a minute, he'd calm down, and he learned to like this activity. But my wife didn't. She was too afraid of him to ever pick him up like that. So she went on the internet and found out that what you do with animals that are too aggressive is you pin them to the ground and hold them until they submit to your will. So one night I was in bed and I was sleeping and I heard this horrible sound coming from downstairs. I ignored it. An hour later, I keep hearing, so I went to the edge of the staircase and looked downstairs, and I saw my wife standing over the cat. And I said, what are you doing? She says, I am holding the cat down until he submits. And I said, how long have you been doing this? And she said, 3 hours. And I said, I don't think it works with feral animals. I think that's meant for domestic animals. And she said, I have to work in the morning. You're going to have to come and take over for me. And you want to hold him till he submits. And I went, okay, let him go. And she said, but he'll bite me. I said, just let him go. So she let him go. He had that look in his eyes. I scooped him up, held him like a baby, and said, what a good kitty. What a nice kitty. Anyway, Punky went on like this, and my wife had a strange habit of taking him to bed. And our relationship was floundering at that point. I think she brought him to bed for protection. But it ended up that Punky really liked me. He wouldn't bite me. But the end of Punky came when he was in bed, and my wife moved the wrong way, and Punky attacked her in bed under the covers. And I couldn't get to him, and he caused some horrible scarring and some bites on her, and she said, he's got to go. And I said, where? And she said, anywhere but here. And I said, who's going to take this cat? this cat is vicious. And she said, I really don't care. And I said, well, I'll work on it. A week later, Punky was very, very sick. And sad story, but true, he died a week after that. And the whole point of the story is the good intention was to save this wonderful, kind beast. But often when you get a beast home and you bring it back to health, you find out it really is a beast. Thank you.